Hey everyone, so I'm making this video because a lot of you ask me, how do you do what you do? How do you guys build commercial solar pipeline and get deals closed in 2024/2025? And this is sort of what our strategy is going to be and how you can sort of take it and apply it to your business and get more commercial solar installs in. So there's three things you need in order to create pipeline and then close that pipeline. So number one is opening conversations. So literally just getting people in top of funnel. Next thing is moving them into middle funnel. So storing them correctly. And number three is nurturing those stored leads and converting them into sales. So first of all, we have opening conversations. So I want to create new conversations. What now? So there's three methods that we know still work. We have cold email, cold calling, and ads. So these are the three methods that we've seen work. Ads is more applicable to sort of residential solar, although you can do it for commercial. I'd say Google Ads is probably more relevant for that. So in terms of ads, there's a few pillars to it. So number one is platform. So you're going to choose Google, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. There's loads and loads of different platforms. I say the main ones that you can go for is Google and Facebook for solar specifically. So first of all, choosing the platform. Now, when you think about where the audience is, if you're looking for commercial solar, they're not necessarily going to be on Facebook. Well, they might be, but it's probably not as common. So Google's probably a better shout because if someone's looking up solar for the business, then they're going to look on Google. Now, number two is testing and analytics. So I put them both there because it's the same thing. You sort of test to get analytics and use that to basically make informed decisions on how you test. And what you test is basically the creatives, for example, if you're doing Facebook ads. So that includes all the visuals if you're doing videos, and then also the copy. So what sort of copy is resonating with the market and what copy is not. Are you guys going for a fear-based approach, or are you going for a more incentive-based approach? Are you leading with value? Are you leading with all these sorts of different things? And then you have qualification. So one of the main things that we see a problem with ads mainly is the qualification. So we speak to a lot of installers and they sort of have run ads campaigns before, or people have run ads campaigns for them before. And the main issue is the level of qualification for the leads. So there's a few things you can do here. Number one is just adding layers of qualification to the forms. You can add quite detailed forms in your website or on the on the Facebook form if you want to keep it in Facebook. Another thing is, instead of keeping it in Facebook, send them to your website to do a detailed form. Then that adds extra layers. It sort of depends on what you prioritize. I'd say test it out. But if you're worried about spending too much time on underqualified leads, then I would say add extra layers of qualification so that you can only get the good leads who are actually spending time to fill out the forms to go through it, because then you know they're serious. Number two is cold calling. Now, with this, there's a few different pillars. You have the dialer, first of all. So you can use Alaware or Cloud Talk or within your CRM. So we use Close within our CRM. And with the dialer side of things, it's quite important because you want to make sure you have a speed. You want to make sure you have a speed dialer or a power dialer in there so that you or your reps can get as many calls as possible in the shortest amount of time. You want to maximize your staff. So make sure you have a power dialer in there. And next up is data and delivery. So this is really important. So making sure you have good mobile data and relevant mobile data to be calling for your reps. And in terms of delivery, this is more specific to the US, but if we sort of cycle our numbers every couple of weeks, because after a couple of weeks, you might have been flagged as spam a few times from people who didn't ask for a call or something like that. And in the US, it could basically, if you've been marked as spam, someone may look at your number while you're calling them, and it might say spam number. So cycle through the numbers, because you might have people that just stop answering the phones. And then data, you can use things such as, I would recommend as a minimum sort of Cognism for mobile data. If you invest a lot of time and money into cold calling, invest in Cognism. I think it's about $4,000 a year. So that's probably the best sort of data you can get and that sort of things. And then wording, which is very, very important. So obviously data, I say what data is as important, if not more important, but wording. So you have the right prospects. Now you need to create the right messaging to them in order to get their interest. So first of all, you need to grab their attention. Second of all, you need to keep the conversation open. If you can keep the conversation open long enough, then statistically, you're likely to book the meeting. So you've got to think about it in terms of analytics. There's things such as connects, convos, qualified convos, and meetings booked and stuff. Those sorts of analytics that you can look at to make sure that you're tracking your metrics and you're making sure that it's first of all, connects is data. Second of all, convos is if your first line is attention grabbing enough to keep them on the phone, and then qualified convo, and then it sort of goes from there. But tracking analytics is key. And then you have cold email. So there's a few things in here. Number one is sending. So you want to have a good sending provider, first of all. So that basically means, are you using manual? Like, are you one-to-one? That's probably not a good idea. You want to be using some of these new AI outreach tools. I know there's loads in the market. You could be looking at Apollo, first of all. They also have a data platform. You could be looking at Instantly or Smart Lead. Next of all, you have data, which is very, very important. Everyone uses Apollo now, so I would probably say stay away from Apollo. Although it's a good starting point, so you can try that, but make sure you clean the data if you get Apollo. So cleaning the data, verifying captchas, and then also, just removing any of the spam traps, unverified emails, just keeping the verified and then validating the captchas, because there's a lot of catch-all emails, so like info out emails and all that sort of stuff that are still good. Next of all is delivering. So making sure you have good infrastructure. So are you sending a certain amount of emails per day? Do you have multiple domains that is, and then multiple email accounts from that, so that you are not, one email might go down and then you have loads of others as a substitute? Are you, this is another thing with delivering, using spin tags, so using variations of words so that you can make sure that you're not getting flagged as a spammer from Google Outlook or main ESPs. And then finally, you have messaging. So I would say all of this is much more important than messaging. But once you've done all of that right, you then have the messaging. So this is basically what sort of value you're providing. Are you using personalization? If you want to use personalization, I'd recommend GPT for Sheets as a budget option, or you can go to Clay, or you can use many other sort of enrichment platforms and personalization platforms to sort of make sure that you're sending like one-to-one emails at scale and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's sort of the main three channels that we look at. In my opinion, all that sort of most of what matters is more impressions, so more eyeballs on what you offer, and people will just eventually want to understand your offer, speak to them, and then after you make a certain amount of offers to people, some will come through, some won't. In my opinion, if you just have more people coming into the funnel, that's all that matters. Now, number two is storing them correctly. So it might seem pretty simple, but a lot of people get it wrong based on what we've seen and based on the people we've spoken to in the solar industry. So, very simple, not enough people use it, or at least use it properly. So first things first, get a CRM, but not only a CRM, get a good CRM where you can sort of centralize communication. So what this means is being able to call email, text, and do all that sort of stuff within the platform. That's how you can centralize communication. Also allows you to see communication that's happened between any other team members, and if any of their team members have got in contact as well. Centralizes all the information about each prospect, what the deal sizes are, all that sort of thing. It's an absolute lifesaver. We weren't doing it properly until last month, and everything's dramatically changed just from those simple little tweaks. So first things first is back to what I said about this stuff is volume. So basically just having enough prospects coming into the pipeline as possible. Now, the next thing is having your correct pipeline stages. Now, what that might look like is responded positively, so new lead. Then the next one is call booked. Then the next one is no show. And, you can have all those different pipeline stages and proposal, waiting to send proposal, waiting to hear back on feedback from proposal, all these sorts of site survey, all these sorts of nuances and stages need to be laid out clearly, and having each prospect within that stage, clicking on it, okay, that's the last communication, okay, it might make sense for me to do this, and it makes everything 10 times better. So just having a CRM and storing these prospects correctly so that you can move them across the pipeline stages. Now, what you have now is all these leads in the CRM, and what do you do now? So what you do is you follow up with them regularly. And that means, seeing where they are in each pipeline stage. So if you're a BDM, business development manager, then your job is probably just to sit on the CRM, or the sales manager, sit on the CRM and see where each lead is in the in each stage, and then follow up with them as and when needed. So move prospects to the next stage of the pipeline. That's your whole goal. You don't necessarily need to get them from new lead to close straight away. All you need to do is move them from new lead to call booked to follow-up call to site survey or desktop proposal to site survey. Just get them to the next stage and the deals will sort of fall on your lap. And this is another thing that goes back to volume. So don't take each sale personally, just focus on the volume. I see a lot of people who are holding on to these deals, £100,000 deal or £500,000 deal, just holding on to it like, yeah, hopefully this is going to come through. Like, we're just putting everything into this right now. But like, to be honest with you, 90% of prospects who come into the pipeline, or 95% of prospects who come into the pipeline, don't convert immediately. You need to follow up with them for months or sometimes even years if it's big commercial solar jobs. So in my personal opinion, just focus on prospects coming into the funnel, and then obviously move them from pipeline stage to pipeline stage, but don't have all your eggs in one basket. And this is, very important, because if you're relying on a few prospects to convert, then the law of probabilities probably isn't going to work in your favor. So focus on volume, follow up regularly, move prospects to each next stage of the pipeline, and deals will just come in. So main thing, get people through the funnel. Next thing is just follow up them regularly, remind them that you're there, keep good vibes, don't take it personally. If you're burning bridges with these people because they're not closing or like they're being long, then that's not going to help you convert anymore. Just keep good vibes, stay in touch, and eventually they'll convert. I've had so many people say to me, yeah, look, we don't do it this way. We're looking at something else, all that sort of stuff. I just say, yeah, absolutely cool. Let's just stay in touch, see how it goes, follow up with them a few months, and then they just convert. So that's my sort of take on things. If you want to get more prospects and open more conversations, storing those prospects correctly, and then making sure that you're nurturing these prospects to actually convert them into sales. So hope you guys enjoyed this short little mastermind. And let me know what you thought and if you'd add anything else.